Hey, so today we're doing a photo shoot here at the pool. I've got Samantha who's going to be in front of the camera. And the main focus is going to be, we're going to be looking at two things. One, I've got the Canon 85 1.2L RF and then the RF 28-70. I'm going to be showing you some of the differences between shooting with a prime lens and a zoom lens. Let's get going. Okay, so for this first few photos, I'll be starting with the prime lens. I'll be shooting with the 85mm 1.2. And so one of the biggest differences between using a prime lens and a zoom lens is that with a prime lens, you have a fixed focal length, right? So common focal lengths for prime lenses will be 35mm, 50mm, 85mm. And what's great about it is you typically can have a lower aperture, giving you better low light performance. So think 1.2, 1.4, and that's going to give you much more shallow depth of field if that's the look you're going for. So think if you're shooting events, especially nighttime events like concerts or parties and whatnot, or if you're just doing night photography, that lower aperture and the more light you can get will really come in handy, because then you're not having to push your ISO up to 2,000, 4,000, which can really lower the quality of your image. Because prime lenses don't have or have a fixed focal length, they don't have a zoom ring. And so anytime you want to zoom in and out, you typically have to just move your feet, right? You get closer to the subject, you get further away. But I've found that the images are typically much more high quality. They're sharper around the edges, all throughout the frame. Can the camera see me? I hope so. All right, I'm switching out the 85 and I'm gonna go to the 28-70 now. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more wider angles with this thing, so let's see. All right, so I just switched to the 28-70 f2. And I'm gonna take some photos using this lens. Zoom lenses are incredibly versatile. So like one of the biggest reasons I love using zoom lenses is because you can get as wide as a wider lens at 28mm. Typically, a lot of people use 35s, but 28 gets you a little bit wider, so you can get more creative angles when you're doing a photo shoot. But then also, without having to change lenses, you can go to 70, which is really close to what you would want to use for a portrait lens or something similar. Now, there are a few drawbacks when it comes to using zoom lenses. For instance, typically they're a little bit more costly for the same quality that you would get in its prime counterpart, right? But then also they're a little bit heavier than your prime lenses, at least some of the lenses that have been around for a while. The newer zoom lenses typically have faster apertures. So, I mean, it's f2.0 aperture on a zoom lens is quite a bit, right? That's a lot of punch, and so you can expect that lens to be pretty heavy. And what ends up happening, or the outcome of that, ends up being typically, if you just doing portrait shoots here and there, it's not really that big a deal. But if you're wanting to carry your camera around and just take pictures throughout the day or while you're on vacation, it's a lot more difficult to, especially if that camera is a lot heavier or bigger, to try to pack it and whatnot. From a quality standpoint, typically you'll see a little bit more vignetting. At least that's what I see with zoom lenses, especially when you're at the extreme telephoto end of the lens, where in the corners will be a little bit darker than you will in the center of the shot, but it's not as noticeable.
Good. Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Oh my God, I need you to
Hit copy and just keep it in your clipboard for a second. So when it comes to what lens should I get? Should I get a zoom lens? Should I get a prime lens? It really depends on what you're shooting, right? If you're shooting mainly headshots, portraits, you could do something like an 85. If you want to get a little bit more space, right, a 50mm maybe. I know when I started, it was like the nifty 50. Everybody's shooting with the 50mm. Or you can get a 35. It really just depends on what your feel is. Me personally, the zoom lens made me feel really comfortable because I knew I could get any focal length that I wanted to, whereas prime lens are a little bit more challenging, right? Because you've got to walk to get the shot that you want. So I would say when you're trying to decide what lens you want overall, rent maybe one or two. See if you like the zoom lens, schedule a few shoots out, maybe try the prime lens and see which one you like more, and just kind of go with it. Also, keep in mind, you don't have to buy these lenses brand new, right? Go on eBay, and get an older version of a lens and try it out. If you buy it used, you don't like it, you can probably sell it for close to what you bought it for. which is a way to kind of circumvent having to rent lenses. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you stuck this far, guys, make sure you go follow Samantha on Instagram. I'll have her linked down below, and like the video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.